Welcome to Tax Talk Tuesday. Today I'm going to talk to you about Form 1099-C. There are only two income documents that you will ever receive. One is a W 2, and that comes very specifically from wages. Wages are where you have worked for someone as their employee. All other types of income is reported on a 1099. So if you work for someone and you are not their employee, they issue you a 1099. If you have income from, let's say, interest, you get a 1099 INT. If you have income from retirement, you get a 1099 R. But today we're going to talk about the 1099-C. That is income that is generated as cancellation or from the cancellation of a debt. And you are supposed to claim that as income on your taxes. So let me give you an example. Let's say you had a car, you couldn't make the payments, the finance company repossessed it. Now they sell the car for, let's say you owed 10,000 on it and they sold it for 15. In most states, they're supposed to keep the 10 and give you the 5. But let's say you owe 10,000 and they sold it for 8. They're going to cancel 2,000. That 2,000 that they've canceled, you are supposed to claim as income on your tax return. But there are some exclusions and some exceptions. And today I'm going to talk to you about those exclusions, exceptions. I'm going to talk to you about Publication 4681 and Form 982. So let's get started.
We began our research on irs.gov. In the search engine, we've entered the number 1099 and the letter C. These are the results that we receive. And we're going to take a look at the very first result that we receive. And lets us know that 1099-C is the cancellation of debt. And here is a copy of the actual form. Gives us a bit of information about the form here, and then this is what the form looks like. Now, the creditor that is canceling the debt has to put their information here, and your information will go here. The debtor's 10, that means 10 is taxpayer ID number, that will be your social security number, and then your other information will be listed here, and the type of debt will be listed and the reason why the debt is being canceled. So we're going to go back just a few steps and I want us to take a look at publication 4681, which is the publication about canceled debt. So let's open that publication and it gives us quite a bit of information about what is and is not allowed. So one thing that I like about the publications is if you click the highlighted button, it will take you right to the information that you're looking for. So the first bit of information that I want to take a look at is information about the actual 1099-C. Now, someone recently contacted me and asked me about a 1099-C. They had a 1099-C for debt that had been canceled in 2000 and I think 18 or 17, something like that, they said. And one of the reasons that a debt can be canceled is based on the statute of limitations or expiration of the deficiency period. Now, it lets us know that in box 6, the lender has to say why they're canceling this debt. Was it a bankruptcy, a foreclosure, election? And one of the reasons is because the statute of limitations for them being able to collect the debt is up. I want us to take a look at this and see what's very important is that Code C is used to identify cancellation of debt either when the statute of limitations for collecting the debt expires or when the statutory period for filing a claim or beginning a deficiency judgment proceeding expires. So some collectors, some debt, the collectors can take you to court for it. But if the court date has or their ability to take you to court has expired, then or is about to expire, then they can issue you a 1099-C for a debt that's a little older. Typically, the time frame for collecting a debt is 7 years, but your state may impose a different limit. So that can vary from state to state. Now, in the instance of the person that contacted me with regard to the 1099-C they received in 2024 or for tax year 2024, their state imposed a limit of 3 years. So this creditor only had 3 years to take them to court. So that time has expired. So you can always contact someone that has issued you an income document that is incorrect or that should not have been issued and ask them to rescind it or correct it. So in this case, I would contact this creditor and say that the time for you to have canceled this debt or to sue me for this debt is 2021. So please rescind this 1099-C.
We are going to take a look at the exceptions and the exclusions. There are several exceptions and exclusions, and this bit of information lets us know that we apply the exceptions and then the exclusions when determining what debt does not have to be included in our income. And the very first bit of information that's displayed is about gifts, bequests, devices, and inheritance. And it lets us know that in most cases you don't have income from canceled debt if the debt is canceled as a gift, bequest, device, or inheritance. Now, when it gets down to student loans, that's a little bit different. If someone were to make the repayments on your behalf, then you do have to consider that debt canceled and include it in your income. However, there are certain circumstances where you do not have to. And let's take a quick look at some of those circumstances. One is if the student loan cancellation was due to meeting certain work requirements. So if you have an employer and that employer says, hey, if you work for us 5 years, we'll pay all of your student loan, then in that instance, it's not considered canceled debt. If you are someone and the Biden-Harris administration canceled your debt between the years of 2020, and that's December 31st, 2020, through January the 1st, 2026, then you do not have to include that income as a canceled debt, or if there's a student loan repayment assistance program. So if any of these apply to you, you do not have to include that in your income. Now we do get to look at the exclusions. There are several exclusions. One exclusion is if the debt is canceled through a Title 11 bankruptcy. And another exclusion is insolvency. So insolvency means that you have more debt than income. So this information lets us know that there is an insolvency worksheet, and in order to tell the Internal Revenue Service that this should not be included in your income, you would have to file Form 982. Tells us right here how to report the insolvency exclusion. So let's take a look at the insolvency worksheet. As you can see, it's quite detailed, and the instructions here written in plain language. So you should be able to use this worksheet to determine whether you're considered insolvent and the degree of your insolvency. And there are several other types of debt that may be excluded, like farm indebtedness. Quite a bit of information in this publication. So it's very
important that you read this publication or you find your situation and make your determination as to whether you have to include this income in your or the canceled debt in your income.
Okay, let's recap. If you receive a Form 1099-C, you are supposed to claim the amount on that 1099-C as income, just like any other income document that you would file with your taxes. However, there are some instances where there are exclusions and exceptions that will allow you not to claim that income. In order to determine if your particular situation qualifies, please read publication 4681. I did discuss a few of the common reasons why you would be able to exclude that amount from your income. But of course, these videos are intended to guide you to the information so that you can review it for yourself. So please do take the time to read that publication to determine if you qualify for an exclusion or extension. I'm sorry, an exclusion or an exception. Also, if you think that someone has issued you a 1099-C in error or the amount is incorrect, you do have the right to go back to the issuer and ask them to either rescind it or to correct it. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button.